Hey everyone, welcome back to Currency Revalue, where we break down the real movements behind global economics, monetary reform, and the Iraqi dinar. Today's topic is one of the most intense and widely discussed developments we've seen in a long time. Speculation has been building rapidly, and almost all of it is pointing to one name that many of you will recognize: Chase Bank. Something is unfolding behind the scenes, and if even part of this information proves accurate, it could suggest that preparations are quietly being set in motion for a future exchange scenario involving the Iraqi dinar. However, before anyone acts on excitement or assumptions, we need to slow down and examine the full picture. Because alongside the speculation, there are also strong, serious warnings urging caution, patience, and disciplined decision-making. And today, we're going to break down every dimension of the story so you can understand what's happening, why it matters, and why timing could ultimately determine the outcome for every holder. Over the last several days, conversations have intensified across online forums, investor circles, and dinar analysis groups. The chatter centers around claims that Chase Bank's internal systems are once again showing the Iraqi dinar listed as an active foreign currency, but with a new detail attached: a reported exchange cap, or limit, tied to how much could be exchanged at one time. Now, on the surface, that may seem like just another rumor, but what separates this one from typical speculation is what it implies about preparation. Banks, especially major global institutions like Chase, do not update foreign currency systems casually. These are highly regulated environments. If a currency appears within that system, if limits are assigned, if operational parameters are being adjusted, it is usually for a reason. And that reason is rarely accidental. To understand why Chase being mentioned here is so significant, we need to step back and look at what Chase Bank actually is within the global financial system. Chase is not a local bank. It is one of the systemic pillars of the U.S. monetary network, deeply connected to international settlements, cross-border liquidity flows, the U.S. Treasury, and global foreign exchange markets. When a bank of this size adjusts internal handling for a currency like the Iraqi dinar, whether it be reactivating live screens, setting up exchange handling limits, or preparing account-tiered thresholds, it often signals readiness testing. Banks run internal simulations, liquidity control models, compliance checks, and anti-fraud system calibrations only when preparing for real operational scenarios. They do not waste resources on pointless configuration. The reports circulating suggest that the rumored exchange cap might be around $1 million worth of IQD per customer, with the possibility of higher tiers for private banking or wealth management clients. Now, whether that number is precise or not is secondary. What matters is the logic behind a cap itself. When a currency undergoes a revaluation, especially one that has been suppressed or disconnected from international markets for years, the first wave of exchanges can create enormous liquidity stress. Without limits, the system could become overloaded instantly. Banks would be forced to liquidate large positions too quickly, and that could destabilize not only their internal financial structure, but the broader financial market. So instead of viewing limits as a roadblock, we need to understand them as part of standard operational risk control procedures. If the Iraqi dinar were to revalue, there would be millions of people worldwide attempting to exchange at the same time. Limits help control verification, liquidity pacing, fraud protection, and compliance verification. They ensure the process unfolds orderly, not chaotically. In other words, limits are not a sign that something is being prevented, they are a sign that something is being prepared for. But, and this is critical, the warnings coming from experienced analysts are equally important. Many have stated clearly that rushing to exchange the moment the first rate appears could be a strategic mistake. If the first rate to appear is what is known as a transitional rate or a controlled early phase rate, then those who jump early could end up exchanging at a value significantly lower than the final stabilized international rate. Timing becomes everything here. Just because something starts doesn't mean that is the moment where the best outcome is achieved. Those who move thoughtfully often benefit more than those who move first. This is why patience, organization, and verified information matter right now more than ever. Because while speculation can ignite excitement, real-world financial outcomes require strategy. And we are now entering the phase where strategy matters. To understand why this is happening now, we have to turn our attention to Iraq itself. The Central Bank of Iraq has been aggressively upgrading its digital banking systems, reforming anti-money laundering protocols, transitioning domestic transactions from the US dollar to the dinar, and aligning payment infrastructure with international financial standards, including ISO 20022. These reforms are not cosmetic. They are foundational restructuring steps, the necessary groundwork for Iraq to return to international currency functionality. And as Iraq reforms internally, major global banks must update their systems externally to match. This is where Chase enters the picture again. If Iraq is preparing its end of the financial bridge, then global banks must prepare the opposite end. The timing here is not random. It aligns with Iraq's own public statements. When separate systems begin making synchronized moves, it usually signals coordination, and in global finance, coordination almost always precedes activation. So, what should you be doing right now? The right strategy is preparation, not reaction. Keep your currencies secure. Keep your documentation organized. Understand your personal banking options. Stay alert for verified public announcements, not rumor-based excitement. When an event of this size becomes real, it will not be secret. It will be unmistakable. The Chase exchange limit story should not be taken as proof of immediate revaluation, but it does serve as a strong signal that the infrastructure is moving into a prepared state. And history tells us that large-scale financial changes do not begin with public announcements. They begin with system-level adjustments, exactly like the ones being reported now. Stay calm. Stay informed. Stay strategic. Because the ones who benefit most are always the ones who are ready, not the ones who rush.